My name is Elena Torres. I'm 47 years old and I live in Austin, Texas. For 16 years, I was the secret weapon behind my husband's family logistics company. On a Wednesday morning in April, my father-in-law called me into the boardroom. Just him, my mother-in-law Patricia, and a lawyer I'd never seen before. Elena, Richard started, adjusting his glasses. We've been discussing the future of Brennan Logistics. My husband Jason wasn't there. That should have been my first clue. Patricia slid a folder across the table. We're restructuring ownership and management. The family has decided it's time to consolidate control with blood relatives. I opened the folder. Severance agreement, non-compete clause, exit date, immediate, 16 years, erased. Jason supports this decision, Richard added, watching my face. It's what's best for the family legacy. I closed the folder. Looked at both of them. Does he? He's been part of these discussions for months, Patricia said, her voice dripping with satisfaction. Months. I stood up, folder in hand. I'll have my lawyer review this. Elena, don't make this difficult. Difficult? I smiled. I haven't even started. I walked out. I didn't know it yet, but that was the last time I'd ever feel small in their presence. Let me tell you who I was, before they made their mistake. Came to Brennan Logistics in 2009, with a degree in supply chain management and a Rolodex of industry contacts they could only dream about. Their company was regional, struggling, losing contracts to bigger competitors. Jason and I had just gotten married. His parents needed help. I was supposed to be temporary. Instead, I transformed them. I landed the Cordova manufacturing contract, $2.3 million annually. Then Patterson Distribution, then Silverstone Industries. Within 3 years, I'd tripled their revenue. But money wasn't the whole story. I personally hired and trained every operational employee they had. 52 people over 16 years. I didn't just hand them manuals. I mentored them, taught them negotiation, showed them how to see 3 moves ahead. Marcus, their warehouse manager, I found him working night security. Saw something in him. Trained him for 8 months. Daniela, who ran their client services. She was a receptionist drowning in an abusive marriage. I helped her find her strength, got her into night school, promoted her twice. Every person in that building had a story, and I was the first chapter. They forgot that when they handed me that folder. I didn't go home Wednesday. I went to my office, boxed up 16 years, and drove to my best friend Simone's house. They did what? Simone's face went through 5 emotions in 3 seconds. I told her everything. When I finished, she poured us both wine. What are you going to do? I don't know yet, but I'm not going quietly. My phone buzzed. Jason, Mom said you left upset. Can we talk tonight? Upset. Like I'd overreacted to a mild inconvenience. I typed back, upset is an interesting word choice. I'll be staying at Simone's. He called immediately. I declined it. Then he texted, this is childish, Elena. Something inside me went very still and very cold. I called Marcus. He answered on the first ring. Ms. Elena? Marcus, I need you to be honest with me. Did you know they were letting me go? Silence. Then, I heard rumors last week. I didn't want to believe them. Who else knows? Everyone. There was a management meeting Monday. They told the senior staff you were being transitioned out, but not to say anything until it was official. Everyone knew. While I was working late on the Patterson renewal, everyone knew. Marcus, I need to ask you something, and I need you to tell me the truth. Anything. If I left, what would you do? He didn't hesitate. I'd follow you. A lot of us would. I closed my eyes. Don't do anything yet, but thank you. After we hung up, I sat in Simone's guest room and made a list. Not of revenge, of facts. Fact. I was the most connected person in Texas logistics. Fact. Every major contract came through my relationships. Fact. I'd just been handed a severance package worth $180,000. Fact. I was done being underestimated. Thursday morning, my phone rang. Unknown number. Elena Torres? Speaking. This is Victoria Ashford. I'm the CEO of Meridian Global Logistics. I sat up straighter. Meridian was the biggest logistics firm in the Southwest. Fortune 500. The place everyone wanted to work. I heard something through the industry grapevine that seemed impossible. Victoria continued. So I'm calling to confirm. Did Brennan really let you go? As of yesterday, yes. Their loss, my gain. I'm sending my helicopter for you. Lunch today. I have an offer that requires a face-to-face conversation. 2 hours later, I was in a glass tower overlooking downtown Austin, eating seared tuna with a woman who'd been on the cover of Forbes. I'll cut to the chase, Victoria said. I've been watching your career for 5 years. You're the reason Brennan grew 340%. Everyone knows it except apparently the Brennans. She slid a portfolio across the table. Director of Strategic Operations, $280,000 base salary, performance bonuses that'll double that. And here's the part that'll interest you. 4% equity stake in Meridian, vesting over 4 years. I stared at the numbers. 4% of a company worth $1.2 billion. You're offering me ownership? I'm offering you what you should have had years ago. Partnership, real power. And Elena? She leaned forward. We're about to expand aggressively into Brennan's territory. I need someone who knows every client, every weakness, every move they'll make. That's you. When do you need an answer? You already know your answer. The question is whether you're ready to stop playing small. I signed the contract right there. Friday night, I finally went home. Jason's truck was in the driveway. So was another car I didn't recognize. I walked in quietly. Voices from the kitchen. Has to understand this is business. That was Jason. She's going to make this so difficult. A woman's voice. Young. Familiar. I rounded the corner. Jason and Stephanie, their HR manager, 28 years old, blonde, ambitious, jumped apart like teenagers caught by parents. But it was the way they moved. The familiarity of the space between them. Stephanie's hand leaving Jason's arm just a second too slow. Elena. Jason's face went white. You're supposed to be at Simone's. Clearly. I looked at Stephanie. Does Patricia know you're here? Stephanie grabbed her purse. I should go. Yeah, I said softly. You should. After she left, Jason tried to speak. I held up my hand. How long? Elena? How long? 6 months. He couldn't look at me. It just happened. 6 months. I laughed, and it sounded wrong even to me. So, while I was working 60-hour weeks to save your family's contracts, you were sleeping with the HR manager. The one I hired. The one I trained. It's not, we didn't mean, stop. I walked to our bedroom, pulled out a suitcase. What are you doing? Leaving. For good this time. You can't just watch me. I packed methodically. Clothes, documents, photos of my parents. Everything that mattered fit in 2 bags. Elena, please. We can work through this. I turned to face him. You knew they were firing me. For months, and you said nothing. Then I find out you've been cheating with an employee. What exactly would we be working through, Jason? Your betrayal or your family's? Where will you go? Somewhere better. Somewhere I'm valued. I left him standing in our bedroom. Drove to a hotel, and I didn't cry. I was too angry to cry. I walked into Meridian Global at 8 a.m. Monday wearing a power suit I'd been saving for something important. Victoria met me in the lobby personally. Ready to change your life? Already have. She introduced me to the executive team. Showed me my office. Corner suite, floor-to-ceiling windows, view of the entire city. Then she dropped the bomb. We're acquiring Cordova Manufacturing's logistics division, and we're personally reaching out to every Brennan client you brought in. I need you to make calls starting today. By noon, I'd contacted 12 clients. 9 wanted meetings. By Friday, we'd scheduled presentations with 6 of Brennan's biggest accounts. And then Victoria added the cherry on top. We need someone to lead our new Austin expansion office. Senior position. We're thinking of hiring from the local market. Any recommendations? I smiled. I know exactly who to call. Week 2 at Meridian, my phone started blowing up. First, Marcus. Ms. Elena. They just lost the Patterson contract. They're panicking. Then Daniela. Patricia called an emergency meeting. Asked if anyone knew how to reach you. Then finally, Jason. Elena, we need to talk. The business is in trouble. I didn't respond to Jason, but I did call Marcus. Are you happy there? I asked. No, ma'am. Not anymore. How would you feel about a new opportunity? Better pay, better culture, and working with me again? Where do I sign? By the end of week 3, 7 Brennan employees had submitted applications to Meridian, not because I recruited them, because they asked me. Jason showed up at Meridian on Thursday. Security called me. "There's a Jason Brennan here to see you. Tell him I'm in meetings all day." He says it's urgent. Family emergency? I almost laughed. The only family emergency is that his family is learning what happens when you discard valuable people. I'm still in meetings. He waited in the lobby for 3 hours. I left through the executive garage. Saturday afternoon, someone knocked on my hotel suite door. I looked through the peephole. Patricia and Richard Brennan, both of them looking 10 years older than they had 3 weeks ago. I opened the door but didn't invite them in. "Elena." Patricia's voice was strained. "We need to talk, do we?" "Please." Richard looked desperate. 5 minutes, I let them in. Didn't offer seats. Didn't offer water. Just stood with my arms crossed. "We made a mistake," Patricia started. "We didn't understand what you had," I finished. "I know. I got your message loud and clear when you fired me. We want you back," Richard said. "Name your terms." "Ownership stake, executive salary, whatever you want." "You're offering me what I built?" I smiled. "Interesting timing. How many contracts have you lost?" Patricia's jaw tightened. 4, but... And how many employees have quit?" "Elena, please." "No." I said it quietly, firmly. "You don't get to throw me away and then demand I save you. We're family." "No, Patricia. We were never family to you. I was useful. There's a difference. And now I'm useful somewhere else. The business will fail without you," Richard said. His voice cracked. "Then it fails. That's what happens when you build something on one person and then push them out. You should have thought of that before you decided blood mattered more than competence." "What about Jason?" Patricia played her last card. "He's your husband." "About that." I leaned against the wall. "Did Jason mention he's been having an affair with Stephanie?" "Your HR manager? For 6 months?" The color drained from Patricia's face. "I'm divorcing him. The papers will be filed Monday. Anything else?" They left without another word. 3 months into my new life, Victoria invited me to a charity gala, where something stunning. "I'm introducing you to the board." I wore red. Confidence red. Success red. Freedom red. That's where I met Cameron Price. He was standing alone by the bar, looking amused by the pretension around him. Tall, salt and pepper hair, eyes that actually listened when you spoke. "You look like you're plotting something," he said as I approached. "Just enjoying watching. Certain people squirm." He followed my gaze to where Jason stood with his parents, looking miserable in a cheap suit. "Ex and former employers. Long story. I like long stories." He extended his hand. "Cameron Price. I own Price Industries. Manufacturing empire. Billionaire. I'd read about him in Forbes. Elena Torres. I work at Meridian. I know who you are." He smiled. "Victoria talks about you constantly. Says you're the best hire she's ever made. She's not wrong often. We talked for 2 hours. He was brilliant. Funny. Self-made. And when Jason walked by and saw us together, the look on his face was priceless. Cameron noticed. "Someone you know?" "Someone who forgot my value. His loss." Cameron looked at me directly. "I don't forget valuable things." We started dating 2 weeks later. Not because he was rich, not because it hurt Jason, but because when Cameron looked at me, he saw me. Really saw me. And yes, it was deeply satisfying when Cameron hired Jason 6 months later, as a mid-level operations manager at one of his warehouses. Jason went from owner's son to employee, Cameron's employee. "Small world," Cameron said when he told me. He applied. He was qualified. I pay fairly. We both knew what it meant. Jason now worked for my boyfriend, reported to people who reported to Cameron, who came home to me. The universe has a sense of humor. 1 year after they fired me, Patricia called me. Not Richard, just her. Elena. Her voice was hoarse. "The bank is foreclosing. We're losing everything. I'm begging you. Please." I was in Cameron's penthouse watching the sunset over the city. Everything was golden. "Patricia, I need you to understand something. When you fired me, you didn't just fire an employee. You fired the person who built your success. When you let your son cheat on me and said nothing, you lost any right to my mercy. When you chose blood over character, you made your choice. I'm sorry. You're not sorry you hurt me. You're sorry you're suffering consequences. There's a difference. What can I do? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You taught me a valuable lesson, Patricia. You taught me that loyalty given to the wrong people is wasted, that I was always worth more than you saw, that I don't need people who don't need me, at least not until they're desperate. So that's it? That's it. Sell the business for parts. Declare bankruptcy. Figure it out. Just don't call me again. I hung up. Cameron handed me a glass of wine. You okay? Better than okay. I'm free. 2 years later, Meridian promoted me to vice president. My equity stake is now worth $48 million. I sit on 3 corporate boards. Forbes featured me in their Most Influential Women in Logistics issue. Brennan Logistics sold to a private equity firm for pennies on the dollar. Jason works in Cameron's warehouse making $58,000 a year. Patricia and Richard retired broke. Cameron and I got engaged last month. Not because of revenge. Because he's brilliant and kind and sees me as an equal partner. Marcus runs my division at Meridian. Daniela is a senior director. 7 other Brennan employees now work here, all thriving. I don't hate the Brennans. I pity them. They had gold and traded it for brass because they couldn't see value unless it looked like them. Here's what I learned. When people show you they don't value you, believe them. Then go find people who do. When they come crawling back, and they will, remember how small they made you feel. Not to be cruel, but to be clear. You don't owe loyalty to people who threw you away. You don't owe rescue to people who watched you drown. You owe yourself the life you deserve, the respect you earned, the peace you built from their betrayal. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever been underestimated, discarded, or betrayed by people who should have valued you, share it. Comment below and don't forget to like and subscribe. The best revenge isn't revenge. It's becoming so successful they can't ignore you. So happy they can't touch you. And so free they can't reach you. And watching them realize what they lost, that's just a bonus.